So we have made it to Resolute. Yesterday, our first day, we flew into Ottawa, and that went perfectly smooth. From Ottawa, Iqaluit, and then flew up to Pond, then Arctic Bay, and finally we're into Resolute. Now we're at the campground. Really very friendly people. Town social worker. She took us to the campsite and checked that we had everything that we needed to stay overnight. The campsite is quite neat. It's got some wind shelters. It's barren. The ocean is great. It's starting to melt out. It's got blues and whites and streaks. We've got about 1 degree, maybe freezing and windy. It's pretty chilly, pretty nippy. And Joe's flight was canceled. Somehow he managed to make it to Toronto today and presumably to Iqaluit. He doesn't know about his luggage. What's happening with his luggage? Okay, so right now it's the third night. Today the highlight was a Parks Canada walk with a guide, Devin. So he took us around town, and probably the highlight was when he showed us his dogs. They were adorable, and they were very curious about us. He showed us the sleds, too. They're not nailed together. They're sort of done with a rope or something that allows them to flex when they go over the bumpy ice. The sled dogs, he had a picture, fascinating picture, where they had chased down a bear, and the bear was exhausted, and the dogs were there facing the bear that was just lying down in a state of exhaustion. He showed us these polar bear pants. These were really cool. They're super warm, and they're perfect for kayaking because the water just bounces right off them. The only problem is that if you're wearing them over -20, they're just way too hot. Polar bear is kind of an interesting fur. It's really rough fur. And muskox, he showed us muskox too. And this has some rough and some softer wool. Very warm. When you put your hand in the muskox, it's very warm. Yesterday we picked up Joe. Joe's luggage didn't come. But when we pick up Joe, he's got a tent and he's got equipment. Lots of equipment. He has a few key things missing, but he did a marvelous job. And dinners. He has dinners. Lots of craft dinners. Anyway, pretty much geared up. We're ready to go. Flight leaves tomorrow at 8 a.m. Wednesday. This is the day we fly into the park. The ice is fascinating. All sorts of leads and patterns, and it's very, very cool to see the ice. We flew over Axel Heiberg. It has mountains, it has glacier. It's an interesting place for sure. From there, we start moving towards Ellesmere. Little stop in Eureka, and it was really warm, like 10 degrees. Apparently, there are muskox right there, right beside the airport sometimes. And the mountains are really fantastic, spectacular, amazing. everywhere. And just the water, the glacier, it's all there. It's Thursday, and we start our big hike. Almost immediately, we hit a head wall. By that, I mean the first river, the Mcdonald River, we couldn't cross it. It's been a really hot day the previous day, and the night was hot too, and it was sunny. So all that together meant the water was very, very high. So we decided to take on the Ad Astra route counterclockwise. I would say the first part of the route, there was a lot of boggy, a lot of mosquitoes. Also, muskox skulls and bones. And we saw a wolf and its family. The wolf was howling and signaling the rest that there's a possible danger. It was a beautiful white wolf. Beautiful, beautiful white wolf. Quite a few nice flowers and muskox tracks everywhere. And muskox fur as well. Muskox scat, prints from muskox, prints from wolves. Yeah. So eventually we got to the big Mcdonald Crossing on the counterclockwise route, and we couldn't do that either. Also, it was late and time to set up camp. We're going to get going at 6 a.m. And we're hoping that tomorrow this river is going to be a little bit more passable. We were shocked and not too happy when the river was higher in the morning than it was in the evening. We crossed it. It was really cold. My feet just seemed to be gone. I just had stumps or something. That was a huge river. There were so many braids, and eventually we got to the other side. We would avoid walking through the main channel by going onto the land and up and down. That was a lot of work. And eventually we saw two rangers. You know, they were sticking to the river floor, and they were zipping along. So we decided to take their cue. We were opposite the glacier, and the river valley becomes narrow. So it's not so easy anymore to just simply walk the braids, because all the water is in one channel. So Wade saw some cairns, and we followed them, and it went up, 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 up. When we got to the top, we saw the rangers down in the valley floor. And looking at their footprints, we realized that they descended a scree slope. So we did the same. We had some debate about whether we should camp at the top, but it was pretty blustery up there. So we decided to make the one big push to get to the bottom. And now we're at the glacier, and it's a gorgeous glacier. It's got a powerful waterfall, beautiful white and blue, and some black on it as well. Gorgeous glacier. So that's what we accomplished. We're dead tired after all that. Lots of ups and downs, lots of river crossings, and we'll probably sleep in. We're planning on leaving at 8:30, so fairly relaxed day tomorrow. Audio diary for Saturday. Got a bit of cold today. We start out, we were very optimistic. We thought it was going to be an easy day. Almost immediately, the river cuts the bank, and you have to walk along steep, scree slope in order to pass it. And we got through that, and we thought that that would be it. But then there was another one, and it was longer and looser. Set up camp on a plateau. It is really cold, and it is windy. Whenever you walk into the wind, it stings. Audio diary for Sunday. We start from our plateau camping site and hop up over ridge. And then Joe spots two moving dots, and through the binoculars we can tell that they're muskox. So we see our first muskox. Pretty exciting, even though they're just a couple dots. Walking along, Joe sees another muskox, this time close. And the muskox is just right there, just off the path that we're walking. We get an excellent photo shoot opportunity. Amazing. 3 wolves, mom and dad, and then a pup. Look out and watch what we're doing. Watch what the muskox is doing. They're very, very smart animals, looking straight at us, trying to determine what's going on. We just kept marching along, and it's easy terrain. Just along the valley, easy creeks to cross. Camping is not too difficult. A second spot we thought about, we took, does have a slight issue. Where are the red chairs? Over and out. Well, today I'm still feeling sick, but sore throat is pretty much gone. Had a great sleep, and the tent was hot. So hot because it was sunny out, and that really made all the difference. Today we walked to the moraine between the two glaciers. amazing place. You have glaciers to the left and to the right, and what you do is you scoot up the moraine and cross this section via the moraine. Very, very nice. Rivulets coming off the glaciers, piles of rocks, different types, water running in the opposite direction of our travel, and then eventually changing to the direction of our travel. Interestingly enough, Joe saw the recent kill of a muskox by wolves, and a wolf running away from the kill as Joe came by. We were getting blasted by wind the whole time, and that kept us moving. And I saw a bumblebee, which was kind of freaky. We found a camp that has a creek, good quality water. Yeah, that's the end of day 5. So we packed up and went, and immediately ran into this canyon, the steep wall and not easy to traverse. So we went up the canyon a ways, and then further still, and then we were in the fog. We were able to get past that obstacle, plus another deep-walled valley. Then drop down below the fog and see the beautiful glacier. Wonderful, wonderful glacier. Beautiful glacier. And peninsula, which we were told is a good camping spot. And it certainly is. The lower ones, you worry that if there's a calving glacier that it could cause a big wave. So we all camped out at the taller upper ones. Oh, also there are lots of fossils here. It's just really rich in fossils. Saw something like some wood and maybe some shell in the rocks. And there's an icy wind. Today had a lot of calm, actually. It had mixed weather, but right now we have some icy wind. As we're packing up, we say, oh, okay, let's take some pictures. So we take our pictures from the northernmost part of our trip. The mud was crazy. The previous evening, we were slipping and sliding. You end up with like 1.5 pounds of mud on each boot. But in the morning, when the rain had stopped, it was better. As we came out of camp, we had great view of Glacier and Nunavut. It's something that you don't want to forget. We're just walking for hours and hours in the glacier. This towering wall is there the whole way. There's this one spot. it was sandy. If you just looked at the sandy part, it could be like some tropical beach or something. And then, as you look across the water, there's this wall of ice. It seems like it could belong in another planet or in a movie set. We saw all sorts of animal tracks. Fox, wolves, various birds, muskox. One thing of particular interest was polar bear tracks. So then we were much more careful to keep together, at least for a while. We saw a piece of wood that was pretty thick. We figured, where did this come from? And then later on we saw that this is the root system. So the root systems of tiny willow trees can be much, much thicker than the growth that you see above ground. Eventually we dropped past the toe of Air Force Glacier. And there's chunks of glacial ice flowing out of the river. So we grabbed a few and had whiskey with possibly thousands of year-old glacial ice. This section, it was not too difficult, right? You just walk along the moraine. I understand that in the past it was difficult. This route is changing dramatically decade by decade. Today, a bunch of muskox walked pretty much into camp. There were a couple babies in the group, or young muskox, and it might have been 9 muskox, I'm not quite sure now. It was fun to watch them. Eventually they figured out who we were, and then they started running away. And they can run really fast. In the morning we got going, and it's actually pretty easy terrain. Glen saw a polar bear print, so this one was heading out to the ocean. Big one, very big one. I found one of those very interesting iron rod pieces that had a quartz core and all this patterning. I don't know what's going on there. It's a fascinating piece though, very heavy. We saw the emergency shelter, and before that, maybe the same group of muskox. Shelter itself, it's got bare essentials. It looks like it is polar bear proof. It's probably can handle any sort of wind. It looks incredibly strong. So we picked a campsite by the river. The river is very silty, just a little bit unfortunate. Oh, and while we were here, the muskox herd, they walked from up by the cabin down between the bench and our camp, and Joe went over and took a look, and they went walking right by him. Today's Saturday, and yesterday, well, that was quite a day. We made good progress. We made it to Roll Rock Creek, and in fact that was very easy to cross. There were some nice braids and not even really knee deep. Glen was doing his best to get the best photos and adjusted his GoPro and then docked his GoPro in the rushing water, in the muddy, brown, rushing water. So it was lost. All those pictures, they were lost. This is... Yeah, we're a little bit broken up about it. We get to the Mcdonald. Things are different this time. Things are different. It seems a little bit lower, and the delta seems, broader, easier. So we can see maybe 5 major channels, and we just go really far out on the delta, and we basically pick them off one by one. Not difficult, for sure, not difficult. The one thing that was challenging, though, is that it was windy, and the water was really cold. And then it started raining. It might take 40 minutes to cross the thing. And by the end of that, you're getting ready to start shivering. So we crossed it, and now we power back to camp. And the rain is starting to get pretty heavy. This is surprising because it's supposed to be a polar desert.
Success!
Fucking rap phenomenon. 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 The fucking rap phenomenon.
That's great, and it's splash resistant.
What do you have underneath of it?
Both sleeping bags. I'm like good to minus 25 now.